For some wine made by Jocelyn Hogan Wilson. This is her Chenin Blanc, the first of two we'll try. Used to be the winemaker at L'Abri, now with her own project, and a project that's found its way into Montegray and Independence. Well, there's some great history to this wine. Although Jocelyn might be making it fairly recently on her own, having left L'Abri, the vines here are 4 decades old. Swartland old bush vines that have produced the grapes for this Chenin Blanc. And West Coast wine, very much the darling of the wine world at the moment, and some West Coast Chenin I've had of late has been magnificent. So the wine is certainly coming from territory that comes with a great deal of pedigree. Oh, there's something about a Chenin Blanc when it develops that old feel to it. Not necessarily an old wine. This is fairly recent. This is a 2016, so it's not old at all. But maybe it's the old vines coming through. But that honeyed feel, that it's got a sense of very warm, embracing gravitas to it. It's just really smooth, very slightly sweet, rounded feel. It gives it just a beautiful, plump depth to it. And Jocelyn Hogan Wilson has nailed that there. It's a West Coast Chenin to add to a fairly impressive list of West Coast wines that are making waves at the moment. And this is a Chenin Blanc that does those old vines great justice by producing a beautifully balanced and well-rounded wine. Love it. And so to the last of the wines from our Stellenbosch escape here at Montegray and Independence, the little wine bar in Bird Street in Stellenbosch. And this is the Divergent, again from Jocelyn Hogan Wilson. And this is a red blend. It's a third a piece of Carignan, Cabernet Sauvignon and Cinsault. You might know the name Serge Hochard, Chateau Moussard in France. He was in South Africa about 4 years ago, gave a talk to the Swartland winemaking community, and it was that talk that inspired this particular blend. Originally it was going to be something different. Instead it is what it has become, a third each of the Carignan, the Cabernet Sauvignon and the Cinsault, the Divergent by Jocelyn Hogan Wilson. I can safely say we've never had this blend before on Dan Really Likes Wine, and it'll probably be a while before we come close to anything similar again. The Cinsault and the Carignan very much cutting edge styles at the moment, very hipsterish. Have your bespoke coffee and your craft beer, and then follow up with the Carignan and Cinsault, and then Cabernet Sauvignon, very much a regal old school grape. What on earth is it doing keeping this sort of company? It's the parent dropping off the cool kids who are asking to be left a kilometre short of school so they don't have to show up with mum and dad through the front gate. So coming together like this, it's unusual. But it's been inspired by a great French winemaker, and it's been reinterpreted here by a young South African winemaker who's got a great and growing name and has decided that Carignan and Cinsault can very well go with Cabernet Sauvignon, and that's exactly what she's decided to do with the Divergent. And I like the results. Very different wine. And you can kind of pick up the little hints of each of the different ones. The Carignan and the Cinsault, of course, very light wines, and then that seam of Cabernet Sauvignon offsetting them. The combination, it's unique, it's certainly unorthodox, but I think it's come through very nicely indeed. And I'd like to see how this ages. This is only, what, a 2016. I think another few years of all of those little bits just melding together a little, and you're going to come up with something that is very nice indeed. It's already lovely. It's already a great addition to the unique collection of wine they have here at Montegray and Independence. And I think if the Chenin was certainly outstanding, this will be the wine that will grab a lot of attention just by virtue of the fact that it's something quite adventurous, quite playful and quite exotic in the winemaking space. And that's what you get if you come here. Michael and Rose have done a terrific job in the wine industry. Michael, until recently, one of the trustees of the Cape Wine Auction and the chairman of Wines of South Africa. He's now moved on to assorted other adventures, but he's very passionate about wine. Rose just as much so, and their little spot here in Stellenbosch celebrates the very best of some of the smaller and more unusual names and varieties, and in this case combinations that you might not get otherwise. So next time you're in and about Stellenbosch, you need to save water, so drink wine instead. Come through to Montegrain Independent, try it out. It's well worth a visit, lovely spot. Tell Rose we sent you and tell her that you saw the wine on Dan Really Likes Wine and you'd love to give it a try. Believe me, it's worth a visit. Cheers.